Betty.
Hi, Celia.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I've been thinking since our last conversation, or since one of our conversations about the odd plethora of lesbian romances, especially for kids, whatever, I have stumbled across an area of YouTube called BookTube. Yes, BookTube. And it's a place where basically people come to review and discuss books. And many of these people are also writers.
Of course. Okay, that makes sense.
This is Cindy, and she has a Netflix series of some sort. I don't know what it is exactly. She's kind of vague about it. She just got it, I don't know, less than a year ago, and I don't know if it's in production yet. But yeah, she has a Netflix series.
Like a video series, or is this a podcast, or do you know? Or what is it? What kind of series?
I don't really know. I can't figure out what it is exactly. Okay, here's another one named Jessie, and she describes herself elsewhere on social media as a neurodiverse Afro-Chicanx brujo, proud ancestral conduit writer and YouTuber. They create bookish content primarily for BIPOC and LGBTQIA+ communities. Jessie can most often be found roller skating with their dog or working on their first novel. Now, something I happen to know from poking around on social media, and I did not even do, I didn't creep. All I did was just like the first 10 pages of Google, whatever. Jessie's dog is a comfort dog. It's a full-size German Shepherd. And I'm guessing that dog goes into restaurants and airplanes and every place from her.
Yeah, those dogs go everywhere. They go everywhere that dogs are not supposed to go.
I want to get a look at these people's tolerance level. I want to get a look at how they react to books, because this is their thing. They read and write books. So Jessie has compiled a list of the top 12 authors she would never read because of their racism and their problematic nature, and they don't appeal to her. So she's going to talk to us now about the number one worst, most racist and problematic author.
Okay, let's see it.
The very last author on this list is going to be none other than Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt has written some of the most racist books of absolutely all time. Racist, xenophobic, just outright absolutely disturbing literature. I remember when I read The Goldfinch, I was crying. Like, I was in tears at the way that this woman was depicting Black women. I was really hurt over the way that she was depicting Latin men. That book is single-handedly the most harmful piece of literature I have ever read in my life. And I mean harmful to me specifically. It made me feel so fucking bad about myself. And I was humiliated. I was embarrassed that so many people in the book community were just so obsessed with her work and saying it was phenomenal. How safe can I possibly feel in this community if people are celebrating this book? How does my Black Mexican ass feel safe in this community taking other people's book recommendations when y'all are out here riding and dying for a woman this fucking racist? Like, it blew my mind. I was shook. I see someone recommend those books. I'm like, okay, I know not to trust your book recommendations. I just know that I can't. I know that I absolutely can't. And it's just like a safety thing for me. And I'm just simply never, ever going to be willing to relive that. You will never see me make a video where I talk about The Goldfinch and Donna Tartt, because that's how fucking traumatized I was. When I tell you that I cried over that book, like, because of just like, man, I can't. I'm never going to revisit that. So like, don't ask me. I'm not going to be talking about it further. I think I'm definitely going to say Donna Tartt is my number one, like, most hated author that I would never fuck with, because J.K. Rowling's books did not do that to me. J.K. Rowling's like comments and all of that did not do anything close to me what The Goldfinch did.
Okay, my comment is, who takes this person seriously?
Actually, you raised one of the very questions that I wanted to talk about, Betty, because I wonder when I see people like this, what they're like in real life.
What is her typical day like?
What are her interpersonal relationships like? Does she have true, deep friendships, or does she just have this group of like-minded people who they all affirm each other? I'm wondering how you write about life. How do you write about people? How do you write about relationships and narratives when you feel that way all the time? When you feel this way?
Obviously, it's a biased reportage.
Well, I want to take you to someone else who bubbled into my timeline. This is, okay, I mean, look, I can't help saying her name. Her name is Miranda Paul. She's one of these writers, and she writes for kids. She bubbled into my timeline because of a particular tweet, which I will show you in a moment. And this tweet caused me to wonder what happens in her personal life exactly. So just within the first, honestly, I did not creep. I did not unnecessarily, attempt to dox this person or anything. I just casual, what I found on other social media accounts and news stories, whatever. She props up here and there because she has to publicize herself. She is a writer. She's a very attractive white woman, very attractive. And she boasts that she has visited Africa and she's learned 1 or 2 African languages. She is married to a guy who speaks Jamaican Creole, I think it was. And he has a French name, so I'm guessing that, and he's black, and I'm guessing he has an accent. I'm guessing he's actually from Jamaica, and he speaks this Creole. Mm-hmm. And she has a couple of racially mixed kids. Mm-hmm. Now, when I saw this picture, which is posted right out on this news site, here's so and so and her family, okay, there's the daughter, and the other one, I couldn't tell from looking at that kid whether it was a boy or a girl. Maybe pre-teen or young teen, something like that. And here's the tweet that made me look a little closer at Miranda Paul. And it tells us what happens in real life with these people. Got invited to dinner at a former co-worker's house. In the first 10 minutes, my son was misgendered, name mispronounced, our kids called exotic, and my husband asked where he's originally from. Okay, name mispronounced. Okay, like I said, she's all about diversity, and when you look at her social media sites, you see her in Africa with Africans, and she talks about knowing Mandinka or having studied Mandinka, whatever it is, and I'm guessing that she has given her kids some either African or French-sounding names. Our kids were called exotic. Oh my God.
Okay, that word exotic.
Uh-huh.
That has always meant that there's always been a romanticism attached to that word for me all the way growing up. If you look exotic, that's really, that's something that you would want to be.
Well, yes, you think of exotic as being something complimentary. And as a matter of fact, I think that exotic is even something like a hashtag in some models' profiles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we left early. And for those of you asking, it wasn't the coworker, but someone she invited that we didn't know was coming. Spoke up some corrections directly to them, of course. Glad tonight is over and done with. My kids in the house are okay. They're okay. See, now I want to ask, can these people write tragedy? What's tragedy to these people?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. It's this tragic evening that she just recovered from.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound so tragic to me.
Okay, here's one of her sympathizers. It's tough being in moments like that. It's hard to defend myself. I feel like my brain scatters and I'm plotting my escape. But don't mess with my kids or hubby. You get the horns. Glad to hear everyone's doing okay. And this person, wouldn't you know, is, let's see, she writes dual language stories with elements of nature, and she is an author illustrator. I'm sorry to go all snooty-English-major, and I don't even necessarily recommend that people read these things because, what really might make your brain scatter is the language. But for instance, in Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida, it's the story of this couple. They start off as something like frenemies or just decidedly indifferent to each other, and they manage to fall desperately, madly, completely in love. And you see the guy, Troilus, you just see him right before your eyes becoming more manly and more confident and more of a warrior. And you can just see this glorious transformation of both of them, and she betrays him.
Oh, that is tragic. That is tragic.
It gets worse. He's killed in battle. He sort of just gives up on everything he was, and he's killed in battle. And you see him in heaven. We transports, transport point of view heaven. And he's looking down on all the earthly sorrows, including people mourning for him. And he just laughs. He just gives this laugh. It's such a chilling moment.
It makes me want to cry just listening to this.
What chills and saddens me is his cynicism at that moment about earthly pleasures and human emotions and human nature and human life. It's just all to laugh. The real point of it supposedly is that he says, just set aside the vanities of earthly life and worship God, take comfort in God. But it still is something to make you weep that he's been so betrayed and lost everything he lived for, everything he fought for, and he has just done nothing but taken a giant step back from it and dismissed it with laughter. When he laughs, it echoes over the universe. And in Milton, there's the scene where Eve has been off eating the apple, unbeknownst to Adam. And he's been off like gathering some flowers for her, and he's got a bunch of them in his hand, and he's going to look for her because he's gonna, here, Eve, put these in your hair, whatever. And she comes walking up to him, and he can see instantly. He knows she's done it. Wow. In this passage, your mind just reads it at the speed of light, and his face just goes white and his jaw goes slack.
Wow.
And he instantly resolves whatever she's done, he's going to do the same thing, because as great as God is and as much as he loves Eden, he does not want any of them without Eve, and he resolves to do the same thing she's done. Whatever you've done, I'm going to do what you do, because my fate is going to be joined with yours.
Okay, so that is an epic story. This is nothing near the tragedy of going to dinner with Eve's friends.
Yes.
And they call him the wrong whatever.
Yes.
They misgender him.
Yes.
Or they mispronounce his name.
That's right. I mean, your only companion or your dearest companion has done the thing that has doomed herself and possibly you. And you're divided. Your loyalties are divided between her and your Creator, who is supposedly all loving and who also has given you this Eden to live in. That's the division of your loyalties, and you have to choose on the spot. And you are so devoted. You are so devoted to that companion that you resolve to take whatever punishment comes, and to take upon you the wrath of the author of your being.
This makes me think that people like Morgan and Miranda don't really have any struggles, any real struggles in their life.
Something like that, I'm afraid, Betty. And again, that's why I keep asking. I mean, these people are writers. How do they write tragedy, or do they write tragedy? I'll tell you like one more example from literature. And by the way, again, I am not saying everyone go out and read Shakespeare. I myself only read it because they keep telling me he's great. And I struggle with it a lot. I have to think. But I can tell you, the end of Macbeth. Oh my God. My favorite lines almost in all of Shakespeare are, "Lay on, Macduff!" That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite lines. Because Macbeth is this gnarly warrior. He is this super alpha outwardly in real life, but he's weak on the inside, and he has supplemented his being with faith in these witches, and with this desire to please his wife, and then with just runaway juggernaut ambition, and he is finally at this point where one of these pillars, or one of these huge sources of sustenance has fallen away, and it's like he's just standing on this pinpoint alone in the universe. Everything has fallen away beneath him that he could rely on, and he is facing Macduff. And it's just I have nothing to fight for. I have nothing to fight with except, the things that I always had. Just my arms and my sword. I don't have all the abilities and all the powers and all the gifts that I thought I had. And I'm here alone, it's just me and you, and I killed your entire family. And okay, all right, what can I say? I don't have any of the things I had. I don't have anything worth fighting for. But by God, I'm going to go down fighting. It's the only thing I know how to do, so lay on, Macduff! So one more Shakespeare example from Othello. Interracial marriage, by the way, where...
Right, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And Othello has given his life, his magnificent life, basically, to his new wife, Desdemona. And what happens? She betrays him very early in their marriage. Or he thinks she's betrayed him. And there's only one thing to do.
Yeah.
He kills her and immediately finds out she was faithful all along. That he was duped by an enemy. And he looks at her freshly killed corpse. And, as she was dying, she was saying, I know that you're being misled and I'm forgiving you for this. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's when we two shall meet again at Compt, or no, when we two shall meet at Compt, this look of thine shall hurl my soul from heaven and fiends will snatch at it. I mean, not only is his life over, not only is everything he has lived for over, and the thing that fulfilled his life the most is now dead and gone at his own hands.
Right.
His soul is canceled.
Not only is his earthly life over, his
He doesn't have a
eternal
chance.
life.
Yeah.
His eternal life is over.
And fiends will snatch at it. I know. That's a tragedy, for heaven's sakes.
So, yeah, I was going to say, how did we get here? That's right, we were talking about tragedies. True tragedies.
He wasn't misgendered, and his name wasn't mispronounced. Probably at one point in his life, his name was mispronounced.
But when that happened, I'm going to guess that he wasn't destroyed over it. He wasn't personally destroyed over it, and he wasn't trying to... He probably didn't write tracts about the person who did that and post them on the trees around town.
And probably a few times he was called black and he was denigrated for being black or for being Moorish. But he probably didn't, get shook and cry and tell those people that they made him feel unsafe.
That's right. She didn't cry, did she? She cried.
She cried. It takes 2 syllables.
Yikes.
But anyway, Betty, those were just my little stray thoughts today. It's basically, I was wondering what these people are really like in real life. And Miranda Paul, I think, gave us a glimpse of what it's like to deal with them and to be in their minds and just to
I think that if you carry that flame for too long, or for a certain, for a certain amount of time, you reach a point of no return because you just can't. It is just too difficult to accept, that you were wrong.
I know. Well, we're talking about psychology, and I think
we are. We're on a whole subject.
but it's not a whole other subject. I'm asking, what are these authors and readers and critics like in real life? Who are they?
Yeah.
I almost felt uncharitable even asking this question, but what's with these people? What are their souls like? Are they afraid that some innocent person's, look is going to hurl their soul from heaven and fiends will snatch at it?
I don't know about that. It just seems to me like they would waste so much energy just being on the lookout for
slights.
infractions.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being on the lookout for that wastes so much time and energy. It takes energy to do that.
I know. And to answer another question, like what's their idea of tragedy? What are their books like? I'm afraid that I am not going to find out. I'm not going to find out. That is one study of pop culture that I am just not willing to take. I'm going to leave that question out there. What is Jessie's first novel going to be like? And if Miranda Paul ever writes adult literature, what would that be like? And I just, and what's her name? Is Cindy? I'm not going to check into her Netflix series or find out anything more about her writings. I'm just not going to find out.
It's not worth it. It's
No.
not worth it.
No, I admit I'm going to be remiss in that area of my pop culture literacy program by literally not reading.